And at the time, Larry Riley, Bob was there, my agent, and they're like, I'm trying to figure out coming to a deal. And like, it was that one thing I had to just tell myself, like, one, let's keep perspective here. Like, $44 million over 4 years, more money than my pops ever made in the league. Because I've been around the league for 16 years, watching my dad play. Like, I know how far the league has grown from when he played, and like, that's good money. Support my family, got a lot of security. I just want to be healthy. Like, let's just focus on that, not what you leaving on the table, what you could have made, and then don't count anybody else's money. Like, at the end of the day, when you sign, like, that's your decision. You're going to rock with it. You hopefully have a lot more years to play this game. And I try to set that foundation for my mindset right then and there, and never negotiate with myself afterwards. Never like second guess, never come back to that moment like, oh, I should have, could have, would have, because that's not how life works. So I had to be really intentional about it. I hate, like, it sounds so simple and fairy tale because it did work out, but I do give myself credit that was the perspective that I made sure I had, and didn't want to let anything distract me from what could have been, or what I left on the table, what other situation that could have been out there. And thankfully, like you said, you listed off 5 things that were kind of consequences of that, and I was still taken care of. I was still good. So that meant a lot in that moment.
Did signing a $44 million deal, which, like you said, is a lot of money, but then ultimately you realize, like, I'm not even making half what I should. Did that play any role into you ultimately leaving Nike and saying, I'm going to go sign with Under Armour?
That is a great question. And yes, that is actually a fantastic. Nobody's ever really put that 2 and 2 together. It was an opportunity to, I guess there's always that theme in the league when somebody's coming up with a contract extension or free agency or whatever, like, do you bet on yourself? Like, what does that, do you bet on yourself? What does that mean, right? Everybody's, like a Nerlens Noel type situation. You have somebody like DeAndre Ayton right now. You got guys that had good money on the table. How it works out, we'll see, right? With that piece, like, knowing I had 4 years on the court and got to survey the free agency situation and just see where I was at on that side of in that part of my career, like building something from scratch, taking a chance to put my fingerprint on a brand from the ground up, and have a company that was going to kind of invest behind me. That was a huge opportunity, and it was kind of going against the grain a little bit in terms of, at that time, the stable that Nike had. And everybody can talk about, they do it the best and this and that. That's matter of opinion, but the fact that I got to go and get in the signature shoe game, build a brand, be able to inspire and storytell around things that are important to me. Like, we're now 9 years removed from that. And I got this freaking logo on my hat, and we have, hopefully, something that will continue to be part of the legacy for years and years and years and years to come. That was me betting on myself. And it was it's been a fun process from day one. And I don't know if I would have made that decision had things gone differently with the contract stuff.
And speaking of decisions that you've made, you win unanimous MVP, which hadn't been done in the history. You then take that unanimous and you spin off and you start an entire couple different sectors of business that you go into under the name Unanimous. One is your production company. Another is you started a fund. Talk to me about building that production company, because it's actually a phase that I'm in right now in my life, and just not necessarily building a production company, but the podcast, TNT deal, throwing bones, sessions, and moving into that direction. How has that been for you? Because the time that it takes doing all of this stuff, brother, see, y'all ain't warned me about this. All the time that it takes in building this, but how has that gone? Y'all signed the first look deal with Sony. How has that gone on that side for you, the things that you've learned and how that transitioned into that side of the business?
It's been a whirlwind, and you just said, like, it's about making sure you prioritize, like, what keeps the lights on, what makes all this possible. Obviously, that's basketball, and I don't know what kind of feedback you've gotten, but that has never ever changed. Like, whatever you see us doing outside of court, like we know how to make sure we keep balance. And it's not, I'm not saying it's easy, but you always prioritize and make sure, one, you know who you're doing it with and your people in your team, because that's the most important piece. Sometimes you get that right, sometimes you get that wrong. The quicker you can realize when you get it wrong and make the necessary changes, that's important. And that's a hard thing to do in our position too, because you do, you know, gotta delegate and make sure people are positioned for success. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to you. And some people like that responsibility, some people don't. But I've found that it's been amazing to try stuff. Like, it's been amazing to just experiment, you know, try your skill set at different things, get into, projects that move you. Like you talk about with my media company, with Unanimous, like we found pillars within faith, family, and sports that we want to continue to tell amazing stories through a bunch of different mediums, but making sure that it is authentic to who I am, my personality, things that are important to me. And then allow my team to push me a little bit into different areas that I didn't even know were possibilities. And so that's going to be a long journey that we'll continue to, to assess our goals and measure up how we're doing and keep building and scaling up. But I think it comes down to the team. That's something that is a comparison to basketball and off the court that are so important. Who you rock with and who you do that business with and who you trust to be a part of that fold is the key to everything. This has allowed me to, create some amazing relationships, some amazing opportunities, set some amazingly talented people up for success, and do it with things that are, authentic to me.